This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. Thanks for watching, as always, on YouTube TV, listening on Sirius XM channel 158, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, or any of our great affiliates across the country. NFL Draft is tomorrow night. I love betting the event every single year. I love talking about it. I love the rumors. It gets juicy. It doesn't matter if it might be a bad draft, according to those in the know. I still am fascinated by all the smoke that gets out there, and we'll start the hour by getting into it here. Evan Silva does a great job throughout the entire year, fantasy football and beyond. Mock drafts as well, EstablishTheRun.com and the Establish the Run podcast, and he's on the Progressive Guest line. Hey, Evan, thanks for the time today. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Excited for tomorrow night, and good to be with you guys.
Same here. So what happens at number 2? This has been a ping pong match now going back for the last, 4 days, maybe even a little bit longer than that. As we speak, Reese is now favored. What do you think?
Well, I think that the national guys, the national reporters have converged on David Bailey at number 2, whereas the local media covering the Jets still thinks it could be Arvell Reese. And I think that at this stage of the process, guys in the front office of NFL teams are talking to national insiders and not talking to local beat writers. So I think that David Bailey deserves to be the favorite right now. To me, it makes more sense for Arvell Reese to be the pick to the Jets at number 2. He's 2 years younger than David Bailey. He has a higher ceiling, and the Jets are not going to compete this year. So it makes more sense to me for the Jets to take Arvell Reese, but I think that the national reporters are more in the know at this stage of the process. David Bailey should be the favorite.
Okay, I like that.
How about number 3? And who's going to stand on the table and demand you take this guy, and who has the loudest voice in the room? What do you think happens with Arizona?
That's what we're trying to get to the bottom of, and I wonder if the owner, Michael Bidwell, is going to step in and make a stand here. Again, sometimes you got to throw out logic and reason. Logic and reason with regard to the NFL draft, because things that happen just don't always make a ton of sense. But when the owner gets involved, that's when, we have illogical outcomes. It doesn't make any sense. The Cardinals re-signed James Conner. They brought back James Conner. They signed Tyler Algier. They have money invested to the running back position. They're not going to compete with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback in 2026 and maybe Ty Simpson, who had, 15 college starts. They're not going to be competitive this year. So it doesn't make any sense for them to burn 1 year of Jeremiah Love's rookie contract. But when the owner gets involved, all bets are off. And there's a lot of momentum right now that, it suggests that the owner of the Cardinals wants to draft Jeremiah Love at number 3.
Well, when the owner then is going to be the guy pounding the table, good luck fighting that off. And I'll give you an example. I think I want to go back to maybe this might have been Monday night, could have been Sunday. At this point, timelines maybe a little bit messed up, but I know Love to go to the Cardinals recently was like 9-1. As we speak right now, Evan, that is 2-1 at DK. But if you have the information and the owner's pounding the table, 2-1 is might as well be an $8 favorite.
Yeah, and it's just straight up to number 3, right? This is not a team to Jeremiah Love connection. He's going okay. So there's also a decent amount of speculation the Cardinals are leaking this rumor to try to generate trade interest in Jeremiah Love, and Jeremiah Love is one of the few true blue chip players in the draft. So you do get an out here that if a team trades up to draft Jeremiah Love at number 3, you still win your bet. I still think it's not enough value personally, because it just doesn't make sense to me that this would happen. But you do have a little bit of an out there if a team trades up to take Jeremiah Love at number 3.
Okay, is it Styles at 4 then?
I mean, that's the increasing word on the street, is that the Titans' new head coach, Robert Saleh, sees a ton of Fred Warner, who he coached in San Francisco, in Sonny Styles. And the Titans might even be out on Jeremiah Love at this point if he makes it to number 4, which now he may not even make it to number 4. I mean, I think that Sonny Styles should be at least considered the favorite to go number 4 to Tennessee.
Okay. Well, okay, let's pretend that Love does not go 3. There's no trade. Arizona stays at 3, but they take somebody else. And then Saleh gets his man there with Reese. Styles, at number 4. What happens at number 5 with the Giants pick then?
I mean, you got to think that they take Jeremiah Love, right? I mean, I think that you want to talk about owners. I think that John Mara is still reeling from the Saquon Barkley debacle, or at least what he considers to be a debacle. I don't think that Joe Shane is pushing the buttons there for the Giants. I mean, there's reports that he could be out after the draft anyways. I think it's John Harbaugh. And you've got a young quarterback, put a stud running back behind him who can play in the passing game. I got to think that if Jeremiah Love makes it to the Giants got to take him.
That's we're hearing more and more of that, by the way. And also people, I don't know if you'd agree with this or not, I would find it fascinating because I've heard some say that if Cam Skattebo was in this year's draft, he'd be running back number 2. So when he comes back and he's healthy, they would have Skattebo and Love in the same backfield?
I would trade the pick then. I think they would trade the pick.
Yeah.
Skattebo had a really bad injury.
I know.
Number one, he was a 4th-round pick in the draft. I mean, I love watching the dude play.
Same.
But, I mean, he has no connection to John Harbaugh. You know, I think that he's a guy that you have as your number 2 running back, and solidly, if you have a chance to draft Jeremiah Love, you take him.
Let me ask you this. Many people have said that this has been like the most difficult year that they can remember trying to like fill the gaps. And okay, I know what's going to happen at number 4. I know what's going to happen at number 7, yada, yada, yada. Are you in that same boat? Has it been that difficult trying to put the puzzle together here?
Absolutely, because it's just a domino effect. You know, you get one wrong in the top 5 and everything could go wrong really, really quickly. One thing that I do feel fairly solidly about right now, and this is, I don't feel that solidly, but relative to the rest of the NFL draft, is Carnell Tate at number 7 to Washington. I think that Washington has their sights set on Carnell Tate and that they will absolutely take him if he's available there at 7.
So if both wide receivers are there, meaning him and Tyson, Tate's still going to be the pick?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I think that Jordan Tyson's range becomes 8, heavily rumored to New Orleans. 9, maybe in a trade up for a team trying to get ahead of the Giants. And I don't think that in this scenario, even if they take Jeremiah Love at 5, I think they go offense again and the Giants would take Jordan Tyson at number 10. I know that Pauly loves Francis Mauigoa going to the Giants, and that's certainly a possibility. But in this scenario, we kind of discussed, like we're almost insinuating that Francis Mauigoa goes number 3 to the Cardinals.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Then the Chiefs at number 9. I've heard more about like wide receiver there if one of those guys would be available. But I think it's the most common narrative here has been offensive line. Would you agree offensive line, or would they look at target, and maybe could that target be Sadiq, the tight end?
I mean, I kind of like a defensive player here.
Okay.
The Chiefs are remaking their secondary. You know, they traded Trent McDuffie. They lost Watson. They lost Williams in the secondary, dudes who played a ton of snaps for them last year. Caleb Downs. And I've heard independently that the Chiefs actually don't believe that Caleb Downs will make it to them at number 9. But that suggests that the Chiefs have done enough research to be concerned whether or not Caleb Downs will make it to number 9. I think they might pull the trigger on that. And then Ruben Bain is a big-time wild card because the Chiefs will forget. They believe in the structure in their environment there. And if there's any kind of off-field thing, like they believe in their foundation and that they would be willing to take a chance on Ruben Bain. And Ruben Bain is a Steve Spagnuolo pass rusher all the way.
Yeah, feels that way. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Evan Silva, establishTheRun.com. He's on the Progressive Guest Line. Do you have a long shot bet? And that could be basically anything. That could be a player to go top 10, first round, whatever.
I'll just say a couple of offensive linemen that I like to maybe sneak into the back end, the very back end of the first round, because I think that this draft gets really, really flat from like pick 15 through, let's say, 60. So everybody becomes a wild card at the end. And I think that because there's not, so many blue chip players in this draft, teams have fewer first round grades on this draft than in, many years. Look at offensive linemen that can sneak in. Emmanuel Pregnon, big offensive guard from Oregon. Last time I looked at, he was like about 14 or 15 to 1 to go in the first round, and a super long shot, a dude who drew a lot of attention at the Senior Bowl, Jennings Dunker, because of his look out of Iowa. Just Iowa dudes get dudes blocked. And if teams want to hit doubles in the back end of that first round as opposed to trying to hit home runs because there aren't home runs to be hit because of the quality of the player, just draft offensive linemen. Jennings Dunker and Emmanuel Pregnon, long shots to go in the first round.
I don't see Jennings listed at Caesars where I'm looking right now. Emmanuel is, you said he was, 14 or 15 to 1 recently? He's plus 450 right now.
Ooh.
Okay. Well, shoot. Well, we lost that one.
Well,
how about Jennings Dunker?
I don't see him on the board. I'm looking at Caesars right now, so maybe other books that have him available, but that tells me if he is available at other books, he's going to be a pretty damn high number there. You would say
he
that
was like 50 to 1 on DraftKings as of last Friday.
Okay. All right. We have like a minute left here. So the most confident thing you would say that you have other than Mendoza going number 1 overall right now would be what?
Oh boy.
That's how tough it is this year.
Tate 7?
I know. I think that Jermod McCoy is going to fall out of the first round.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to go in the first round. I think that these knee concerns are legit. He hasn't played in forever. He had this injury a long time ago. And I do not think that Jermod McCoy, I don't think any team's going to take a shot on him in the first round.
Okay. And you can find position props on him for sure at, I think, several sports books. So, Evan, that was great. Thanks so much for the time. Enjoy the draft tomorrow night. Good luck with the bets as well. We appreciate that.
Thanks, fellas. Good luck to you.
Evan Silva. They do a great job over at EstablishTheRun.com and with the Establish the Run podcast as well. They're great on Dynamite on fantasy. Obviously, he loves the draft as well. And we'll keep looking for the Iowa offensive lineman that he talked about to go first round. If he was 50 to 1 recently.
That's great.
Okay. Tonight's
Manoa's down to 125, first O-lineman selected. It was 210 yesterday.
210, yeah. I'll give you an angle that has lost only once in this situation going back nearly 10 years next.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
You can't trust these Major League Baseball bullpens as far as you can throw them. Jose Soriano was removed today from the game after 84 pitches. No runs allowed, 5 innings, 7 hits overall. No walks. Very good sign there. Left with a 3-0 lead. It is now 3-3 in the 7th. Just like that.
Yep.
Gone. You have that, and also thanks to Ian and others in the FTM Army, Jennings Dunker at DraftKings is 15 to 1 to go in the first round.
Beautiful.
Do you like that?
Well, yeah.
Buddy?
Evan knows his stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Having a hard time with this, though.
Well,
this is crazy about, yep.
Because here we are again, a day away. Everybody's so tight-lipped. Everybody's saying the same thing. Most difficult year they can remember. Maybe some of these long shots still on the board right now will pop.
It's also, you don't know who's going to win and carry the day when you're ready to get the pick in. Who's going to have the loudest room and have the biggest say? Like, can Monken carry the day in Cleveland? How can he? Shouldn't that be Barry or the owner?
Well, we're going to have. We'll have some intel on that tomorrow.
Yeah. You know what happens in Arizona? Can they talk him off the ledge? We're not taking a running back at 3. That's stupid.
They need to have a sit down with the owner and say, "Sir, I respect the daylights out of you. I love being in this position. Thank you for having me on your part of your team. We can't, in any way, shape, or form, even consider taking Jeremiah Love third."
Well, go back a couple of years ago. Atlanta gives all that money to Cousins, and they take Penix in the first round.
That's right. And you know what?
Because Blank got involved.
Yeah. Have we shared that story on the air?
Oh, the hat? No, I don't believe so.
I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't. I think that was maybe off the record stuff that we got. But that's the reason why. Blank's like, okay, I don't care that we signed Cousins.
Yeah. Cousins did something that pissed off Blank.
He did.
So he took a quarterback in the first round.
And by the way, that story, I 100% believe it. I don't think it was a rumor that it actually happened with that. So
my best guess would be, I still think they got to go Reese or Bailey, who's ever there, at 3. Love at 4. Then maybe you go Tyson. You could go Tyson, Tate, Styles. And then they take Francis at 10. I don't know about 8, 9, but it's. But again, one trade screws this whole thing up, like Evan said. So chasing and trying to cover your ass and everything get blown up.
Let me tell the audience right now something that I've never said on the air about you before. You do love to sing in between breaks and before the show starts.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact the guys right now behind the scene are like, yes, he does. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you give me a little Love Is All You Need right now?
No.
No, not on the spot, but in the breaks all day long?
I can give you something else, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that song that well. I don't get this. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
But if the owner's crazy and cuckoo, after what Evan said, you got Algier, you got Connor. Why would you take Love with number 3? You have so many needs, and then he also threw it out there too about Simpson. So he probably believes Simpson at the back end of the first round.
Yeah, I guess then that part, if you're going to connect the dots again on all of this, the talking point that has become so common now. And everybody with like an NFL insider with a podcast or a column or their mock drafts saying Love now 3rd. And they said there is a big voice in the room. And if that voice, and they're also saying like it just came out of nowhere. Like it was never a thing throughout the entire process, but it came out of nowhere. Then if it's true, then it obviously is the owner. And then good luck fighting that off.
Yeah.
And again, a crucial thing here about betting the draft is it doesn't matter if you agree with it or not. If you have the information, then go with that. Or if the market is right on, I think Jeremiah Love 3rd overall would be a complete disaster for Arizona. But if somebody told me right now 100%, I can tell you this, that Bidwell is firm and he's not moving, then absolutely unload every single account on Jeremiah Love. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. See, I think if Love slips to 5, the Giants trade the pick.
I think you're right. I would actually want to trade the pick at that point.
Yeah. You can't take them there. And I think that's where the Barkley thing plays into it, the other way.
The exact opposite way?
Yes.
They got burned by it?
Yeah.
And Philadelphia just won a Super Bowl 2 years ago?
We can't get burned again by a running back. We're not going to take a running back 5th.
Can you sing me a little Can't Get Fooled Again?
Yeah.
Okay. Zigzag theory tonight, NBA playoffs.
But depends what they're playing at Circa, though, too. That's the other thing.
Okay. I know.
What I hear in the
Gets
car
in your head,
driving in. Yeah. Big moment here for Detroit.
They have to have this game, obviously.
Season on the line. But also, how can this happen? How can you lose 11 in a row at home in the playoffs? You first have to exercise the demons. Even the series at 1. And then you got to go to Orlando and try to steal one. And now Orlando playing with house money. And it's just shame on Orlando for stinking up the joint for 83 games. And then something happened, whether it was a players' meeting or Banchero had a fire lit under his ass, that he finally said, okay, let's go. And they were great against Charlotte, and they were phenomenal against Detroit. And the first time since '84, a 1 seed never led in their first game. But everything that was said about Detroit and the concerns came to fruition right off the bat. All you have is Cade. Who else is going to score? Who can you count on? And Duran cannot get outplayed by Wendell Carter Jr., for God's sakes. Yeah. But certainly the backups and the role players didn't play well, and it was 2 months on Cade, and the other guys let him down. So I think it's crazy what the point spread is. The history's on your side.
I think it's a big number.
Everything says they're going to bounce back, but I think Orlando gets greedy here, and know that we can do some serious damage. Adjusted series price, Detroit is only minus 190. They won over 60 games, a 1 seed, down to 190, just like that.
Yep.
And again, this has just been nuts. What's transpired? This is the NHL playoffs. This doesn't make sense. 5 dogs have won in a row. And Boston loses a 14-point favorite, and San Antonio loses as a 12-point favorite.
I think it's actually a good thing for the NBA. Rather than having these teams that are favored by 14 go out there and win and cover the games by halftime.
Well, I don't mind that. If it's a 1 against an 8 and a 2 against a 7, just put the baby to bed.
Here is the history on the side of the Pistons that you talked about. And again, I would agree with you. I think the number is pretty large tonight. And by the way, another thing, the Magic were coming off that Friday night play-in game.
Yeah, that's a horrible spot.
And you allow them to go wire to wire against you. Like, that's difficult to happen. But anyway, if you lose as the home favorite in game 1 of the first round, how have teams responded in game 2 going back? Since 2021, teams in Detroit's position are 7-0 straight up and ATS since 2017, almost 10 years ago. 13-1 straight up, 13-1 against the spread.
Love is all you need.
Good. There you go.
That's
You
right.
snuck it in.
That's right.
I think the Pistons win the game. I don't think I can lay 8.5
Yep,
points.
I'm with you. I like the Suns tonight, too, after getting humiliated in Game 1, which we thought would happen. Because
Right.
that's a worse
That's
spot.
how it's supposed to be, yeah.
That's the mother of all bad spots. You're playing late Friday night,
and then early.
and you got the early game on Sunday, and you're playing the best team in the world. So Green's been hot. I could see him going over points and threes again. And this is crazy. Playoff game is 17.5. But I think based on what we've seen the last couple games and the fact that you get the bounce back, I'm not a fan of the zigzag, but I think the Phoenix shows some pride here tonight. And again, this is not like they're the Utah Jazz or the Washington Wizards.
I know.
17.5. I think they can hang for much of the game and at least make OKC sweat.
The Opta AI stats tonight at vsin.com. Now, the numbers have changed a little bit because I think the betting market is on this guy. But it was 4 of the top 5 or 6 props earlier today. The edges were on A.J. Mitchell for Oklahoma City. Like the points, they're projecting 13. You can get 11 plus at minus 103. They make that number minus 298. But they had pretty much, and now the numbers have moved, obviously, because people are betting it, but they were super high on him. Points, PRA, PA, all of it. Every one that you could find. Talked to, in Oklahoma City, Better. He's a big fan of the team. He watches every game. He bets on every single game. And he's been listening to VSiN since day one. His name is David. He's very good. If you follow the same team every single day throughout the year, you're going to have a good pulse on the team. He thinks SGA and Jalen Williams are guys to watch with their assist props tonight. He likes how SGA has been getting more people involved here lately. And he thinks it's going to continue with the assists overall.
Minus $2 to win the West now.
Minus 2.
They're going to get the winner of L.A., Houston.
You mean they're going to get L.A.?
Well, I don't know. Houston can't draw up a play to save their lives and can't score. Lakers have all the injuries. And then San Antonio looked lost without Wemby. And who knows when he comes back. And then you got McDaniels from Minnesota saying no one on Denver plays defense and can guard anybody.
Right.
Called the whole team out. No one. Even Gordon. No one defends.
And Joker looked completely gassed.
Yes, he did. And made 1-3. So that seems like an easy path right now for OKC.
Is there a team in the East that could give them some resistance at all? Could the Celtics?
Yes.
With their absolute A game?
Yes. Why
games,
do they
I
do
think.
this every year? They did it. They lost to Miami once, where they were a big point spread. Well, the other one when they were up 3-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals, or down 3-0. But they just every series, Boston puts out a stinker. Sharps Invitational season-long NFL bankroll tournament. Think poker meets football. You start with 10,000 chips, put them to work on spreads, totals, parlays, and even props. NFL Week 1 through the Super Bowl. Stack your chips, climb the leaderboard. 3 tiers, 3 champions, 3 prize pools worth playing for. Sign up today. JoinTheSharps.com. JoinTheSharps.com.
Sean Green next. More betting on the NFL draft, and he has a lot of teams at plus prices what they're going to do with their first pick. Find out who he likes next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, let's get some more bets in the portfolio for the draft tomorrow night. Sean Green does a great job on the Sports Gambling Podcast, and the Friday edition is live here on VSiN every single week at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. You can follow him on X at Sean T. Green. Thanks for the time, my man. How are you today?
Doing great. Yeah, 24 hours till the draft kicks off, and my head's spinning hearing all these latest reports and who do you believe, what can you believe? So crunch time, and I'm loving it.
So the one I'm going to kind of get all of the other podcasts that I've listened to over the last 3 or 4 days from NFL insiders jumbled up. But I think it was on the McShay pod the other night. He said that Andy Reid might be hell-bent on winning the team over at taking offensive linemen with their first pick overall. Have you bet it that way?
Yes. Yeah, I got Chiefs first position drafted at plus 250. This is a history of knowing Andy Reid, being an Eagles fan, loves a good O lineman. And then 2, let's keep things simple here. You're gonna trot out Patrick Mahomes coming off a blown out ACL. I mean, the only reason the Chiefs had an offense last year was because of Mahomes' mobility, running around. I mean, he was like the leading rusher for half the season. You can't rely on that going into the season this year. You need a better offensive line. So I know there's some fun long shots. I know they're in the receiver market. Maybe Sadiq. I certainly think that's a possibility. Now we're hearing trade news that maybe they go after Kyle Pitts. I just know they need a better offensive line. Your franchise is Patrick Mahomes. Get an offensive lineman. So the fact that you can get plus 250 on Chiefs to draft an O-line first, I'm all over that.
This is excellent. It's like we're in the Eagles locker room too.
Yeah.
How about the Eagles? So your tag team partner gave this out. You also think they go wide receiver right off the bat?
Yeah, well, certainly at the price. I mean, the favorite is offensive line, which makes sense. Again, you look at Howie Roseman. There's type of positions he drafts in the first round. A lot of times it's receiver, and a lot of times it's O-line. The case for receiver is pretty obvious. Adam Schefter seemingly broke the news. A.J. Brown. God knows what he had to do to get that story, but A.J. Brown probably going to be on the Patriots now. But I don't think the Eagles feel like they have their true number 2 of the future on their roster, and them spending a first round pick for a guy to fill in for A.J. Brown with Devontae Smith becoming the number 1 makes a ton of sense. The Eagles value the passing game. They're not afraid to use draft capital on the receiver position. It makes them eating all that dead cap for A.J. Brown a little easier to swallow. If you got a guy you can trot out day 1 as a starter on a rookie contract. So it checks a ton of boxes. I know they'd love to get a Lane Johnson replacement, but if we get that run of offensive linemen from 10 to 17, like people are predicting, I think receiver might be the best option for him. So you can get that close to 3-1. And I'm definitely on Eagles draft a receiver first 3-1.
Yeah, I was going to run this by you, by the way, because BetMGM, they are offering, I thought they were going to offer the entire first round, like who's going to go at number 28, 29, 30. They actually stopped at pick number 22. But it would be fascinating if they actually offered who's going to be the 23rd overall pick in the draft, where they pick, and then you could just take maybe a couple of receivers there as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, taking a couple of dart throws, assuming they don't move up. That's the other thing. There's been a decent amount of news. Early on, they were linked to Jordan Tyson. Now it seems like what you would have to do to get him probably too high, but certainly Howie is not afraid to wheel and deal, and they have a ton of draft capital. So if there is a receiver they do like, they're not going to be afraid to move up to get him.
This is worth a flyer. This is still available at DraftKings. Francis Maui-Noah to go third at 11-1.
100%. I'm on it. And to me, the case is pretty simple. All this Jeremiah Love. Hey, we're the Arizona Cardinals. All of a sudden, we're going to have the highest paid running back room in the league. I mean, they spent a decent amount of money on the running back position. I get it. You want some fans. You want to sell some jerseys. Jeremiah Love. I just don't believe it. I would be very surprised if they stick here at 3 and take Jeremiah Love. Now, certainly maybe someone trades up, and that's what they're hoping for. I think all this, what the Cardinals are going to do is they're trying to get someone to trade up to take that number 3 pick overall off their hands because they want Francis Maui-Noah. And now maybe they aren't able to get that trade. I know a lot of people are predicting a bunch of trades. I'm a little skeptical because we keep hearing the 2027 draft, those picks are going to be so valuable, so many quarterbacks, teams might be hesitant. So I think the Cardinals are putting it out there. They're putting it on Front Street. Hey, come and get it. You want number 3, come and get it. But if they don't get a decent offer and they're really stuck with it, the right tackle makes so much sense for them. I will take a little slice here, a little pizza bet on Maui-Noah at 11-1 to go number 3 overall, because that's the guy they need for that offense.
I would totally agree. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Sean Green's our guest, Sports Gambling Podcast. They pump out new episodes all the time. The Friday one is every single week at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific, right here on VSiN, and he's on the Progressive Guest Line. Talk us through this one, and you have my attention at Colts first position drafted quarterback at 25-1.
Well, it wouldn't be a Sports Gambling Podcast appearance without a couple dart throws, a couple long shots here. And I like taking long shots, especially with this first position drafted with teams drafting their first pick being in the second round, because one, God knows what's going to happen between now and the end of the second round. The Colts are picking 53rd overall, so a lot can happen between now and then. They're missing a ton of draft capital because of the Sauce Gardner trade. So there's a world where they even move down from from the second round and pick in the third. They brought in both Nussmeier and Cole Payton, who are considered like maybe the second and third the quarterback options after Ty Simpson and obviously Mendoza. So I don't think they're sold on Danny Dimes. You look at that contract, they can move on from him after 1 year. The Colts finding their quarterback of the future, Anthony, they're moving on from AR-15. I think they need a quarterback of the future. And if they can get him late second, early third round, maybe even Beck is a dart throw there. At 25-1, considering they brought in, why are they using top 30 visits on two separate quarterbacks if they're not at least considering the position? So I think a lot can happen between now and when they're drafted. And so for me, that's a reason to take a couple long shots.
This is definitely a common bet between us. The Broncos are not picking until deep into the second round. And I would say that they need some help at running back. That's available right now at plus 750. Why do you like it?
Well, let's look at the coach history. Sean Payton loves a good running back. He's a guy who drafted Reggie Bush, Mark Ingram. He's not afraid. Now they don't have a first round pick. They're not picking first until 62, like you said there. So them using their first pick on a running back again makes a ton of sense. I don't know how much he loves Bo Nix. There was those weird comments about Bo Nix and his ankle, and he wouldn't have drafted him, busting his chops publicly. I think he knows he needs to support Bo Nix with a great run game. And if we think this is a weak running back class, which everyone says, you go back to 2019, that draft, the second running back wasn't drafted until 53, my boy Miles Sanders. So could you get the second running back in the draft, maybe even the third, a guy you like here at 62? I think there's a great chance. So running back at plus 750 for the Denver Broncos checks a ton of boxes.
Yeah, totally agree. I bet that one. I think it was late last week when I was reading some reports that they were actually, the Broncos are pretty high on some of those guys that are going to be available in theory at that point. One more here. You like the Niners first overall to be what position?
I'm going receiver. I understand offensive line is definitely up there. It's one of the favorites, but they just worked out that deal with Trent Williams. Maybe they're not as desperate to get an offensive lineman, and maybe they're in a decent spot to get a receiver. I know they signed, they brought in Christian Kirk and Mike Evans, but on the other side, they're also losing Brandon Ayuk. And I just don't know if they're totally locked at receiver. And Shanahan, again, is a guy who loves the passing game. What are you going to get with George Kittle this year? Ricky Pearsall, huge question mark, could not stay out on the field. And they use high draft capital on him. So I'm looking at a team that has a history of using high draft picks on the receiver position. And you're getting, 4-1. I'll happily take a piece there on the 49ers.
Very good. As Pauly said, looks like we're in the Eagles locker room right now behind you. So you love the team. You live and breathe with Philadelphia. You've said something recently a couple of times, I think, on the podcast, and we have like a minute left here, but you said don't rule out Howie Roseman maybe putting together a deal that would land Myles Garrett.
100%. I bold prediction. Now this might happen a little later in the year because it's contingent, I think, on the A.J. Brown trade going through. But if you're the Cleveland Browns, what's the only possible way you can sell to the fan base trading away Myles Garrett? How can you sell that to the fan base? Well, you're going to get the quarterback of the future in the 2027 NFL draft. You're going to get one of these big studs that's going to be coming out, and you're going to save Cleveland football. How do you do that? You load up with picks in the first round. I'm a Jalen Hurts guy. I don't think they're going to be needing to draft a quarterback anytime soon. And if you take the Eagles, they'll obviously have their first round pick. I'm projecting that they probably could be getting the Patriots first round pick in 2027. And then right there, you're starting to put together a package that you could bring in Myles Garrett. So I know the Eagles have had their eyes on him for a long time here. They've tried to trade for him previously. And if they get a nice haul from the A.J. Brown trade, you saw what Jalen Waddle went for. I think A.J. Brown, you're going to get more as far as draft capital. If they have all these picks, they got to use them on something. Yeah,
that'd be a bombshell. Sean, that was awesome. Thank you. Good luck with the draft tomorrow night.
You too, guys.
Thank you.
I think this team is going to lay the wood to their opponent tonight in baseball. I'll explain next.
is Follow the Money on VSiN.
By the way, Big Dumper went yard today, his fifth. That was plus $3 at certain books, maybe even a little bit higher than that. But the Mariners trailing the A's 3-2 in the fifth. You buying the A's? I know you were high on them last week when I brought up the Angels maybe at 25-1 to win that division, but
yeah,
you know,
I am. I'm anti-Seattle too right now. I mean, they're really going. They're a major disappointment. That division's wide open.
I mean, I'm absolutely concerned about the sticks.
Yep.
What is with Julio Rodriguez really never getting it going until after the All-Star break?
Pitching hasn't been that good either.
The full season, buddy.
Yep.
You don't get to play 2.5 months and call it good.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the Rangers win it by default. Maybe the A's are a playoff team this year.
Your tease is you love the Atlanta Braves?
I like the Atlanta Braves, and I don't love them.
Okay. Like them a lot.
Fuentes, I think, is in store for a nice game, but that Washington offense is good. It's a pure fate of Zach Littell.
Yeah. Giving up all those home runs.
So
Braves are hot.
I'm going to go Captain Obvious here. I think it's in the Dodgers-Giants game.
What happened yesterday? They couldn't hit. Yamamoto didn't have it right away, and they lose 3-1.
Roop was good. Look, that guy's got good numbers on the year. And so by the way, Giants play the Dodgers tough like all the time. They showed that stat before this season started, I believe. Each team against each other had the same amount of wins. And like the overall runs scored were pretty on par, if I recall correctly, with that stat. But here's the deal tonight. Ohtani's going to get Molly. Molly's going to go for the Giants. And Ohtani, right now, 18 innings pitched over 3 starts. The ERA is 0.50. The FIP, get out of here, way higher at 2.3. 9 Ks per 9, 0 home runs allowed. Obviously, that won't be a thing for the entire year. But Molly, overall, 18 2/3 over 4 starts, a 7.23 ERA. But is that misleading? It is not. The FIP is 6.99. He's allowing almost 3 home runs per 9. And the Dodgers, they're taking a little bit of money. They were as low as $1.90 last night. Now they're $1.99, minus 124 on the run line. But I forget the run line. I'm talking 2.5 runs or more tonight. And they're also batting in the top of the 9th, which you have to love as a road team. Ohtani has been like this stretch right now that he's in pitching-wise.
Soriano numbers.
Pretty much. So last night was an off night with the sticks. I don't think that's going to happen again tonight against the guy they're facing. And Ohtani's been Cy Young almost. Yeah, give me the Dodgers minus 2.5 runs in the game.
Superman has struggled at the plate when he pitches. He only has one hit. That's true,
yeah.
So that's something to look at. And I know Roberts was going to have a conversation with him, and he didn't hit the last time he pitched. He's also, his on-base streak is 53 games, tying Sean Green for the second longest by a Dodger since 1900. Duke Snyder has the record 58 in 1954, so he's closing in on that as well.
I would not have guessed Sean Green, although he was a very
That's
good
surprising.
Dodger.
I wouldn't have guessed that either.
Mm-hmm. You see, I got to get the numbers right now. Max Muncy on the season. This is one of the funniest things you're ever going to see. I'll get his overall numbers on the year here coming up in a minute. He has, I think he has 8 home runs and 9 RBIs on the year.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, he had 2 again the other night. They were both solo shots. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. He has 8 home runs and
That's
9
great.
runs batted in.
Yeah.
Has that ever happened before? I can't imagine.
No.
That's got to be a first, I would think.
Yeah, the other one, too. Cleveland lost today, 2-0. And we mentioned this yesterday and got more emails on it today. They're 9-0 when Hedges catches. And they're 5-12 when he doesn't.
What?
Isn't that something? 9-0 when he's behind the dish. He's Messick's guy. Got the win yesterday, yeah. Isn't that funky?
That is a bizarre stat.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's another game going on tonight. We just talked about teams in the American League West, and that's a tricky division to figure out at this point. Leiter is going tonight for the Rangers at home against the Pirates. Leiter on the year. ERA almost 5. FIP, tad better than that at 4.17. He's striking out a lot of dudes, almost 10.5, more than 10.5 per 9. But look at the numbers on Ashcraft for the Pirates. I would say the most under-the-radar pitcher maybe going in all of the bigs at this point. A 2.38 ERA. The FIP even better by a half a run at 1.81. And nearly touching 11 strikeouts per 9. Guy has been Like he was the lost pitcher, I think, in that rotation because of obviously Skeens, the hype on Bubba Chandler. Mitch Keller is good. But this guy, if they get it from him, then the Pirates and all those people who were betting them to go over their win total, to be a playoff team, maybe win that division, that's a pleasant surprise. Let me put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But with those numbers right now and the Rangers bats can go into a funk at any given moment, kind of like the Pirates here.
All right.
Good story, too.
How about the Cubs? Cubs have won 7 in a row. Phillies have lost 7 in a row. And did you see the size of that rat on the field? That was a cat, that thing. Incredible.
That was enormous.
Running around Wrigley. So they won 8 in a row July 23rd. July of 2023, rather. So this is, all the talk about the Mets, and rightfully so. The Phillies, terrible.
How bad's this division?
Yes, good point.
Right?
It's still, yeah, it is lousy. But this is right there for Atlanta to run away and hide.
They could. I mean,
because no one has ever made the playoffs with a 12-game losing streak.
Now, how about that last night?
Yeah, they're up 3-0, and all hell breaks loose.
And, of course, Devin Williams comes in, former Yankee from last year.
Move, yeah.
Terrible.
Another bad move, giving them all that money.
Look at this. I mean,
the home run against the Mets in the playoff game ruined him.
I think you might be right.
Did a lot of damage to him.
Atlanta 16-8, Nationals and Marlins 11-13. The Phillies and Mets are in 4th and 5th place right now, respectively.
Yep.
So, and by the way, as a side note, like the Phillies, I want nothing to do with that team right now. And how could you I get it. The Twins are throwing maybe their best prospect on the mound tonight. I don't really know much about the kid other than that.
Yeah.
And the Mets are still laying this kind of a number in the game.
I know.
What are we doing here?
I know. Isn't that something? Clay Holmes is like $1.70.
My God.
They lost 15 in a row in 1982. They entered the season with an 80% chance to reach the postseason, according to Fangraphs. And now it's 38%. Between the bullpen issues and the offense, you get Lindor to go deep. Soto's back. But they're ready to, the fans have had enough, though, too. Ready to turn off. Even the Twins, did you see the Twins' Twitter? The tweet the Twins had?
No, I did not.
What comes in? What can you get in a dozen?
Oh, no.
Eggs, roses, and Mets losses. And then Met fans are all upset coming back at him. It's like, hey, they won 2 World Series, buddy. I mean, you know.
Why would Mets fans be upset?
I know,
they should agree.
Oh, I love looking at the comments. Again,
that's a great.
Social media isn't real life, but it's just, it's incredible. That was a great tweet. Boy. All right, okay, tough guy. You're trying to sell the team last year. You're only responsible for one of those. And it's just what they're calling it to right now. Oh, man. No, but I'm with you, though. You can't be losing 13 and 12 in a row and be laying this price.
No, I'll be pissed off at them.
When they're ready to pounce on you. Hey, Luke, how do you feel? You feel okay? What's with this? Why did they give DeBoer 7 years, $88 million?
Was that the final deal?
Why would they do that?
Holy smokes.
He's been a major disappointment.
I got that one wrong. I said if he misses the playoffs next year or is one and done in the playoffs, they're going to whack him.
$12 million per season. $10 million buyout.
Oh, 10? That's not bad.
He's 20-8.
I hope they miss the playoffs.
Wow,
no
there was
offense,
no need
Luke.
to do that.
Luke went there, our producer. I hope they miss just because the fan base will be burning things down saying, how did we sign this guy to that contract? How do we know he's the right guy in Alabama?
Missed the playoffs, got lucky against Oklahoma.
Should not have been in either year.
And embarrassed by Indiana.
Yeah.
Not good. Not good, Bob. Wow, that's
that is
surprising.
Something else.
7 for 88.
Let me give you a couple of updated numbers, by the way, in the awards market in Major League Baseball. Alvarez went deep today. He's down to plus 260 now. He's right on Judge's heels. Aaron Judge is plus 170. Huh. Well, Ohtani's minus 350. If he puts together a masterpiece tonight and hits a home run, that'll be $7 tomorrow.
Yeah.
And American League Cy Young, Jose Soriano at FanDuel is down to 8-1 right now. He's the third shot. He's behind Brian Wu still.
Wow.
Who's plus 650.
Why did you like him?
And Scooble.
Why did you guys like him early?
So I paid attention to a lot of his starts last year, and I can vividly recall on this show talking about which Soriano are we going to get tonight. Are we going to get 7 innings, 10 strikeouts, no runs, or are we going to get 3 innings, 6 walks, and then a bunch of runs? He was inconsistent, and I thought to myself, if he could ever put it together, and then out of the gates this year, 2 starts, I'm sold. If he can be this guy, I have to make that bet on him because his ceiling is so high, low floor, but ultra high ceiling. If he can just avoid walking the ballpark, And I think it can be live. And now he's as of right now, he'd be the unanimous winner. But we have a lot of baseball left, unfortunately, for that ticket. Mm-hmm. A lot of baseball.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not counting any of that money, obviously.
You got the group chat. You got the opinions. Put your money where your mouth is. Cut is the social betting platform that lets you bet directly against your friends and other users. Sports, politics, pop culture, personal bets. Nobody flakes when they lose. It's pre-funded. You get cash back on every single bet you make. The promo code is VSiN, and you get a 20% deposit bonus on your first deposit. Cut, K-U-T-T, cut.com. Download it today in the App Store. Use code VSiN, cut, K-U-T-T.
Doug Kazarian next. He loves betting spots in the NBA. We'll ask him about the slate tonight coming up.